What's up, everybody? It's Mike with Dirty Mike's Garage. Just thought I'd give an update on the whole Lexus IS300 Sport Cross wagon. Finally got this thing started up running off of the Holley Terminator X system. Most of you have seen my Supra that I had with the LT1, that LT1 Supra, and that car was fun. I had a lot of fun converting that over to Holley, and pretty proud of this one because this one was a whole nother ball game as far as things to work out and figure out, and basically building the harness or taking the Holley harness apart pretty much completely and redoing it to fit the 2J. But anyway, so this is kind of what we're working with right now. It is originally an NA car, and it has a non-VVTi bottom end, so it's got the thicker rods in it. It's got ARP head studs with a TT, the twin turbo head gasket. I went ahead and did valve springs while I was in there. Relapped all the valves, just cleaned everything up, and did BC valve springs with titanium retainers. And now it's got a forward-facing intake manifold on it. These are SCP Snake Eater Performance 1000cc injectors. It's still on the stock fuel system, basically up until the firewall. These are only -6 lines because, as you can tell, we don't need any extra fuel just yet. The goal was to get the engine running on the Holley and work out all the bugs and be able to drive it and enjoy it while I was saving up and collecting turbo parts. So is this going to be really efficient with no turbo, no forced induction? No, probably not. But it'll be up and running, and you know, it'll still be fun to drive, and I'll be able to play with the Holley and figure out what the engine likes and doesn't like, and you know, and just go from there. But so yeah, so this is the setup. You can see I'm running a bunch of low dollar motorsports. Thank you, Brandon. Let's see, I'm running it's a Holley cam and crank sensor. The crank sensor is down on the bottom down there. Kind of hard to see, but you might be able to see the trigger wheel down there. There's I made a mount. Let's see, you can't really see it from up here, but I made a mount up here, and there's a stud on the VVTi gear. It has bolts on it, but I put a stud in it with a nut, and it just reads that stud every time it goes around. The trigger wheel on the crank is a 36 minus 1, so that means it's got 36 teeth minus 1 tooth, so it's actually got 35, but that's what they call it, a 36 minus 1. We have LS coils on here. This is a eBay intake manifold. These things are around 500 bucks shipped, give or take. We are, like I said, we're running, this thing's still got the stock fuel pump in it. This is just a cheapo regulator that I had with some lines that I literally had a bunch of leftover fittings and lines. I just kind of threw it together just so that way I could run the intake manifold and it would be done. Then when I build the fuel system, when I do the turbo setup, I'm running new lines from the back of the car all the way up. It's, you know, bigger lines, nicer regulator, and all that good stuff. So this car had the factory computer, was mounted over here. That computer is now inside the car where the passenger side airbag used to go. It's just hanging in there right now. I need to tuck everything, get it all nice and clean. This right here is the factory ECU box that used to be mounted in this cubby here. That now has the Holley Terminator in it. So it fit in that little area up there nicely. The hood still closes. I think it does just barely touch the insulation on the hood, but that's fine. It's easy to get to. I'll be able to easily get to my inputs and outputs when I want to start adding stuff later, for, you know, boost control and all that stuff. I think that's about it under the hood. This is a GS 400 power steering reservoir that I just kind of chopped up the mount and just mounted it right here. Just got a line that runs over here to this, I think it's a Powerhouse Racing adapter. Stock dipstick, just kind of bent the tube just a little bit to clear the intake. Throttle cable is also out of a GS 400. I think that's about it under the hood. Everything else is pretty stock. I'm going to build an intake pipe that's going to come down and drop down underneath here. This is going to get cut out. It's going to get intercooler piping anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and get the elbow made and drop down. The intake air temperature sensor, you know, will sit in here in that piping. You know, it'll have a big intercooler on it at some point. Come over to this side to a big nice turbo. We got the car is still sitting up in the air because I still need to bleed the clutch, but the T56 Magnum F, it's installed. Drive shaft is in, it's got fluid in it. I literally just need to hook a clutch line up and bleed the clutch. I got the, hang on one second. Right now I just have the Holley handheld just sitting there, but I got my tick shift knob. That was actually in my Supra, for those of you who know that. So, but I'm gonna mount the handheld. I'm actually gonna mount that in this little cubby right here. I'm gonna tuck the harness back in here, and I'm gonna mount it basically just like this right here in the center. And it's got a little overhang on it, so it'll keep the sun out of it and be easy to see. And also, I did a test fit, and the cubby still closes too. So if I go somewhere or whatnot, I can just close it and you won't even see it. If the windows are down at Cars and Coffee or whatnot, you won't know what this thing is run off of. But the goal for the car was to run the factory ECU in tandem with the Holley. And that is so I can keep things like the AC working, the gauges, just have the factory ECU, you know, excite the alternator. So as of right now, everything works. Everything works. I got cold AC. The AC system in this car works off of a CAN bus, I believe. And so it needs to see certain things from the factory computer. I know that Holley, there are some CAN bus options out there, but this just seemed like the best choice for me because I could get all my gauges working like factory. So my tach works, temperature gauge works, battery voltage, fuel gauge does work. Just FYI, the car needs gas, low fuel lights on. This miles per gallon gauge does not work, but I'm not worried about that. Speedometer works. I'll start it up right now, but you'll see I've got a bunch of brake lights on. That's because I deleted the ABS system as well. So, but whatever, fire up. And you don't have to wait for this, but I just like to. But and here we go. Let's see if it starts up. Now this is basically on a bass tune that I had a friend of mine who's got a 2JZ and a Fox body set me up with just to get me up and running, because his car is very similar, minus mine not having a turbo. So, but she's running. You can see right there, temperature's working, alternator's charging. Yeah, it's telling me I got low oil pressure, or low oil, but I don't even have a sensor in there anymore. You can see you got ABS, you got the brake light and traction light on. That's because the ABS computer's not there anymore, but it all works. You know, she needs to be tuned and whatnot, but I can't tell y'all how excited I am about this. I'm so excited about this. Look at this, friggin' cold AC. I'll have to put a thermometer in here so you can see it. But when I first bought this car, I rebuilt the AC system, put a new condenser in it, AC compressor, nice Denso compressor, and everything. So it's all new. AC system works perfectly. So definitely got to have a street car in Florida with AC. So, but anyway, yeah. So I just wanted to share some progress on my my update with this thing, and pretty stoked about it. I just have to bleed the brakes from doing the ABS delete, and basically bleed the brakes, and I got to put the clutch line in and bleed the clutch, and then we can drive this thing. button up a few things here and there, but nothing major. It does need, you know, some sort of filter on the intake, but I'm not too worried about that, at least just to go take it for a drive around the neighborhood or something. But yeah, so that's where we're at, man. I hope some of y'all see the excitement that I see, because this thing is going to be fun when it gets a turbo on it. The goal is 500 to the tire on pump gas, pump 93, and then it's going to have a flex sensor on it. And if I want to turn it up a little bit, go put a tank of E85 in it. We have some pretty good E85 around here. It's usually like 60, 70 plus, and bump that up, you know, throw some timing in it, throw some boost at it, and, you know, make 600, maybe more to the tire. I know that Magnum that's in there, that thing won't even know the motor's there, so we should be good. These things don't make a ton of torque anyway, so, but yeah, so hope y'all enjoy the little catch-up video, and go from there. I'll keep y'all posted. Thanks for watching.